Salvaena de combatio, se la madre moriaton quería
Thank you. Welcome, Miranda. It's so nice to see you and hear you again. Welcome.
Thank you. It's wonderful to
Thanks.
be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And thanks for making time to be on World Drum Club, and welcome everybody who's here. I see Roseanne and Bill and Joni, and we're going to have some time where we can ask Miranda some questions later, but I'll start off and just I want to refer back to a post that you had on Facebook. And I want to thank you also for being so forthcoming with your journey and your story and your challenges and your successes and everything. And if you guys haven't followed Miranda on Facebook, I recommend it because she's just, you know, a great example of somebody using music as a life enhancing practice. And so I want to ask you about, I guess, a very open question. So how's it been going?
Well, I was saying like today I feel great. It's been good. I when everything got put onto online teaching, I ended up working like 10 to 12 hours on the computer, teaching and making videos and managing all the Facebook groups and things like that, I started to get sick being on the computer. And end of December, I had to stop everything. I just stopped, reduced my phone to 95%, reduced the computer to 75%, and spent time like in nature.
Mm.
And the interesting thing is that really the drum has been telling me to always be outside and be a part of nature too. So like I'm like, okay, I hear the message loud and clear. And yeah, so it took a year to just get back to feeling normal. And
And you really intuited that, I guess, because there's no guide for what you needed to do. It sounds like you needed to, first of all, listen to the signals, right? So as a musician, I mean, that's great. Good for you because we're, listening, paying attention, and then responding. So that's amazing that you actually did that. We have this sort of like no pain, no gain mentality a lot of the time, and pushing through and just all that kind of mentality. But sometimes that's not the right path. What do you? Yeah, talk to me a little bit about being out in nature and what that means to you, and how it might affect your your work and your approach.
well, everything's vibration, right? So I always, instead of looking at the blue screen, it's better to look at the real blue screen that's up in the sky. And sometimes when my eyes hurt on the computer, I would actually just go outside. I'm like, my eyes need something real, like
Mm,
real. Like the natural world is the real world, and it has its own frequency, and it's the beauty has its frequency. And so I just go outside and like look at the sky. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, eyes. Like I need to give you something real, and to remind myself like the real world is actually outside nature.
uh-huh. Right. Isn't it amazing how, this wellness kind of can be so simple on some levels, right? It's like just don't put bad stuff into your body. Put yourself in a nurturing environment, a real thing. That's amazing. And so you did that. You stopped doing some things that were causing you, some form of harm. I don't know exactly how to, we don't know exactly maybe what was going on there, but you felt it and you made changes. And now musically, um, how are you? I guess I want to ask you. I know I've known you for a while, right? We've worked together. We've done some workshops together. Uh, has your approach changed, or has it stayed the same, or how do you feel about your music practice now, and what
Well,
does it mean to you?
yeah, it's had me like reclaim it more. I mean, like saying it in words. I've also had some other interviews, and so speaking about what it is, why I love the drumming, and I love the singing is is really my devotion to nature, to the sun, to the moon, to the earth, and to the inner journey. So it's kind of like a marriage. So the songs that I'm inspired to sing come from nature, and so then you bring it to the drum, and the drum also has is a voice for me, like the whole cosmos and earth, um, and so I let the drum be the voice for that when I drum, and then I make it my offering.
Mm,
So I'm gearing back to go back and teach, and like I'm really excited about reminding myself why I drum, and reminding everyone else, what the drum means and represents, and the honoring of the earth and of nature and the cycles of life. And so I'm also I've been studying too, so I've been upgrading my skills, which
mm,
has been a lot of fun. Because with drumming and singing, I just keep it simple because
hmm.
you're doing multiple things, and then you add the feet walking, there's three things, so you don't need to have the fancy techniques to do all three of those. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's a lot. I also want to dig into your unique. 'Cause I do think of what you do as unique in as much as you largely, well, I would say you combine traditional, and correct me if I'm wrong, or you can elaborate on this. But as somebody who's observed your playing, you to me combine traditions, some of the drumming traditions and techniques and things, maybe rhythms, with improvisation and what we might call soliloquy, which is like an in the moment expression based on your own impulses, your own feelings, your thoughts, your own imagination in the moment. And so where your music, and maybe people listening to you at the beginning might have been thinking, what is that language she's singing? So could you talk about what it is that you're doing in these moments of music making, this what we call musicking, right? Being a musician, being musical, being music, letting it flow out.
well, I actually have studied mostly with Lane Redman and all the modern frame drummers, so most of them are not traditional. So what I've done is all the different rhythms that I've learned, I improvise within it, and
Hmm.
so the singing is also improvised. So everything I do in life is improvised and in the moment. And so my singing is not in any particular language.
Hmm.
It's just vocalizing that's coming out in the moment. and I've sang thousands and thousands and thousands of songs that I'll never sing again.
Mm.
And I trust there are thousands more to come because we are unlimited creativity. And so combining it with the drum, I do the same. I don't usually like to make compositions where everything's written down. Da, da, da. I like to have like maybe a structure or a root pattern, and then I start doing variations off of it, at least as a launch, and then I offer it up. So I just think of everything as offering,
Mm.
um, offerings, because since everything is vibration, we are putting out the drum rhythms, so we are putting out the voice. And so if you have intentions to make an offering, then you're contributing something to the collective. So I always um, say that in my mind, I'm like, everything's an offering. So the drum, knowing what it is I'm holding, also the thoughts of that is also my offering. So the drum represents as a circle, oneness, wholeness, unity, community, the cycles of life, the sun, the moon, the cosmos, and that all of life is sacred. So that's my tool of remembrance. So I know when I'm playing, I'm saying, hey, let's all remember everything is sacred, even though I'm not saying that, but in my mind, I know that's what I'm doing. And thoughts are also vibrations going out. Um, so everything is an offering. And the frequency of creating in the moment is very important for me because that's also a certain kind of frequency to put one into the present moment. And so out of that present moment, knowing out of nothing, you can create something. And so hopefully that will bleed into other parts of your life, you know, trusting
Hmm.
in the flow, um, which is a good thing to have just in your life as well. So did I?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is beautiful. Thank you for that. It's kind of I don't know when you I just that phrase leap of faith popped into my mind at the end of what you were talking about. And but yeah, you said so many things there I think are great for people to take in the mindfulness aspects, the being in the moment, the offering, the dedication, the oneness, just the flow, and flow state. And I've talked about, musical flow state music making, I call it, which just making the argument for putting yourself in a flow state because it's good for you and it pushes you towards kind of the edge where new things happen and you feel like you're adequately challenged, but then you're meeting the challenge artistically and with beauty and with creativity. Could I put you on the spot again and say,
Sure.
walk us through, maybe walk us through a little bit with the drum and I mean, you could do this any way you want. But I'm just, maybe walk us through it a little bit and show us, because
Okay.
you just talked about it. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna click off the screen here and just, yeah, just go ahead.
So let me just demonstrate something really simple. And when I perform, sometimes I like to invite the audience because I want everyone to sing also. So maybe we can do a little bit of that. I would do call and response, and so that you can just know that whatever I sing is in the moment, and we're gonna off just it'll be an offering of opening up our voices.
And should we do this unmuted or muted?
Oh, muted, yeah.
Muted. So
So in
so
your
okay.
space, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just gonna play something simple that's just in a four. Alema, alema, your turn. Alema, alema, hey alam, hey alam, hey alam, hey alam. Oh Rama, oh Rama, Era chord, and I'm just gonna make a sound and follow with two. I'll do it one more time. Erana, 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 yorama, 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 avedo, avedo. So with the vocalizing, I create the structure of I want three syllables and they have to be spontaneous, and I'll sing it twice and then I repeat it. So that's just like one simple way to do that I do it. And then and it's really powerful with a big group in person to be able to do this in circle and to hear everyone singing together. It's really a beautiful, potent, powerful, experience. And then with the drum, I think in my mind, I'm playing doom, teka, tek, tek. Let's say it's this main one. And then variations are just like maybe less notes here, or and then so they're simple, little embellishments is all. But yeah, so having a simple structure that you can improvise on is how I do it.
I noticed also that you were, and I guess you just do it because you're a musician, but you were singing with the drum as the fundamental pitch. You're right. You're using it as a drone, what we call a drone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great observation. It's very important that you're that you are in tune and to your drum tonally, and that it's in your tonal range. So for me, it's very important to find the drums that are in my tonal range. So like this one, I probably unpacked, I don't know, 10 of them. I tried them all out before I buy them, so I know that they're in my tonal range. So yeah, so um, I listen to it, and then I know that's where I'm going to start.
Mm-hmm.
So each drum will make me sing differently.
Mm.
Yeah. So the other thing is also I'm inspired by, if I pick a pattern, I'm listening to the melody. So the drum is actually melodic instrument because you got your low tones and your high tones, and then depending on the what do you call it, the sequence, it creates a melody. So oftentimes when I will just drum, it's so hard not to sing because I want to sing along to the drum. So again, that's a little, partnership thing happening
Mm-hmm.
there. But usually the pitch of your drum is, you can find it by, if you want to find it softly, I hit the back of the drum and then it rings, or doom. So the lowest sound of the drum is the tone of your drum, the bass note.
Mm-hmm. And another thing you were doing, which I think I recommend people try, and maybe you could demonstrate this. I know it's better if you have a mic right on the back of the drum, but when you were singing and resonating with the drum, right? You,
Oh yeah. So if
yeah.
you have if everyone needs to try this at least once. So once you
Yeah.
try it once, you'll be addicted. So singing into the drum becomes like yeah, a microphone, or it amplifies your voice. Um, how I do it, I first I hit this so I can hear the tone of the drum, and I put it next to my mouth,
Mm,
and then you kind of find the place where it's the most resonating,
mm,
and it helps if you're in tune to the drum. So, oh, 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 ah, and you can hear it reverberate. So when you sing, your own experience will be surround sound. As if it's a really big drum, it'll be like surround sound, and it'll make you sing more. um, and also, it's a beautiful experience to be able to sing into the drum, and and make offerings that way as well. So normally, that's what I do when I open up for things. Like I sing into the drum and then I come back and play.
Mm-hmm. And if anybody's wondering, as sometimes we do, okay, what should I sing? What should I do? What should I play? You just have to make a note, right? Just hit the drum. Well, strike the drum lovingly, and and then you'll get something, right? You'll have something to play off of or play with, right? And then you just go from there.
Yeah, so
Uh,
if you just let's like for example, if you just pick the three syllable word, and it could be anything. Aleva. Oops, that's not in tune. Herayo, herayo. And then just echo yourself. You only have
mm,
to think of if you just do three syllable words twice and repeat yourself, and then try the next one. And then you just have to create, an unconditional allowing space for yourself, non-judgmental, um, and then have a curiosity about, oh, I wonder what's going to come out, and but not judge it, and explore, just to give yourself space to do it. And then if you offer it, let's say you can offer it, you can say what you want to offer it for. I want to offer it for peace. Then it's good. It doesn't matter how it sounds. If you're making an offering that's from your heart, it's good. Um, and so it's just giving yourself the space to explore.
mm-hmm.
And because no
I
one
love
taught
that
you
you,
how to do
yeah,
it, you just
yeah.
try it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, be a musician, create like a child creates, right? Which is pure just impulse exploration, fascination, curiosity, all those things that you mentioned. I do want to say that when you were doing, though, I want to back up a little, when we were just had that call and response experience with you, I really enjoyed that. And I liked that you sang the phrase and then you sang it again, right? Because sometimes we don't remember what did she just sing, but I felt very guided and very just held musically, and it was also nice to hear your voice, and even though it's just one other person, me, having that experience on my end of this, it still was nice. I still felt connected and held, musically, and it was like a safe space to do that, and so I appreciate that.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah.
But you're right, it's better in a group. A lot more powerful. So we have time, but I just want to make sure that people know about how they can connect with you more. So why don't we talk about that now, just so we're not trying to squeeze it in at the end. So how what are you doing that people can connect with?
Oh, yeah. So I do have a teachable platform that's called Frame Drum Circle Songs, a portal. And in there you can find the introduction called Heart of Frame Drumming Signature Introduction, which emphasizes the weaving of the voice. So um, that's a great one to start off with, because then you'll learn how to hold the drum, how to play the strokes and names of them. And you'll also learn a little bit about Lane and a little bit of history of the um, women frame drummers in ancient times. The class is open to everybody, but you'll learn about
Mhm.
the history of the ancient women drummers. Um, and the workshop is a fusion of my teacher Lane Redmond's teachings, her teaching styles, along with my own. It'll include walking and drumming and the singing. And so I know it might sound hard, walking, drumming, singing, but I've taught this hundreds and hundreds of times, and everyone has been able to do it. So that's and then from there you'll find other like circle songs that you can learn, which is in workshop style offerings. So they're like an hour and a half. They're live recorded, so you'll get to experience what it would be like to be in a like a workshop class for there. And then in January, for the first time in a year, I'll be teaching the introduction in a 3 weeks um, setting on Saturdays. So um, um, yeah, so frame drum circle songs with an s.com for the live recorded ones, and then um, otherwise you can connect with me via social media, Miranda Rondeau, and reach out for emails and get on my email list. That's the best place to know about the upcoming ones. And I'm on, Instagram, yo, and YouTube as well.
That's right. And if you guys haven't watched it already, watch Miranda's video. Is it just titled Butterfly?
Oh, Dragonfly.
Oh, Dragonfly. Ah,
Dragonfly.
see, I got it
Yes.
wrong. Dragonfly.
It's called
a little
Dragonfly.
a little different than a butterfly, but both are good. We like both. Yeah, so that's amazing. That video is awesome. It
Thank you.
really, I think, encapsulates the spirit of what we're talking about, what you're doing, what you do, and what you're talking about. But yeah,
Yeah.
you guys treat yourselves and watch Dragonfly. And then if you have any questions from Miranda, now's the time. I know Bill asked, can you post information about her Teachable site on your Patreon site? Oh, is that for me? I can. So I'll get Miranda, if you could send me the link, I'll put it on our Patreon site,
Okay. All right. Thank
just
you.
so yeah, people can grab it. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can raise your virtual hand. Go ahead, Roseanne. You can unmute or type it in the chat.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Miranda, I noticed in your dragonfly video, which was breathtaking, by the way, you had this drum as part of your set. Have you studied with Alessandra?
I did.
Yeah.
I've studied with her when when she would come to California, like several years, and I've performed with her, rehearsed with her. Um, yeah, it was she's an incredible drummer, singer, dancer. Uh, yeah, I still am amazed at her. The power of her. So yeah, I've and it was a magical meeting her because someone had given me what do you call it? The Pastic magazine from
Hmm.
Percussive Arts, and she had written a article in there, and I remember reading it, and I was crying, and I don't even remember what it was what she said, but I was crying because I was resonating with whatever and then I was like, I have to meet her. I have to take her class at the PASICs. So I went, because of that, I went to PASIC. Oh, the other thing that while I was reading it, this voice said, you're going to perform with her. And I'm like, whatever, I just want to take her class. So I went to PASICs. I made sure she was in front of me so I can have transmission from her. And that's like, and and I took her workshop and I was like, whoa, this is not easy, but like everyone there are percussionists, so we were all, I don't know, we all got it. And I cried when she first played her first song because I felt the room filled up with, the ancient women frame drummers. And and I went up to her. I'm like, thank you so much. She goes, you turned into an Italian body. I go, oh. And then a week later, she was performing at an event, and with one other person from Remo drumming for her, and uh, she stopped drumming and started dancing. And then the guy that was playing was, I don't know why he looked at me and he was going like this, and I was looking around. I'm like, is he telling me to come up? No. And then he's like, come. And so I'm like, oh, I remember that voice that said you're gonna perform with her. I go, I guess this is it. So I just went up and I started playing with them, and um, and then the next thing you know, everything came, and I was invited to do. You want to come to a rehearsal? I'm like, sure. And then I started performing with her after that. But that's a good that you saw that drum. Yeah, beautiful. Did you get to study with her too?
I did. I took there was a 1 day workshop online. I've never met her in person. I would love to as well. And this is back when I was just starting to do percussion. And so I had the 1 day workshop, and then I did a, I think it was like a 4 or 6 week seminar. And she's such an amazing teacher and very intense. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that really kind of kickstarted me into the whole percussion thing. Like I'm kind of a total percussion geek right now. I've learned a lot from Kalani as well, and it's just having the time of my life. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Great.
Any other questions? We have about, what do we have? 20 minutes total. So if you guys have any other questions, just as a general topic, I'll just while we're waiting, ask you about you've already covered some of this, but what are some things that people could do who are, curious about starting this kind of practice? Where would you recommend? How would you recommend that they just start, or what are some things they could do?
With the drumming and singing?
Drumming and singing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've already talked about a couple things, but if there's
Yeah.
anything else that you think
Yeah.
of.
So one, you have to learn how to really know how to play the drums. So if you can get an introduction in there somewhere, that's helpful. And then from there, there's other classes that you can take that's specifically for drumming and the weaving of the voice.
Mm.
So, if you already know how to play, one way is to pick a pattern. So I'll play the last one, which is doom, tech, 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 doom, tech, tech. So instead of reciting the strokes, you can sing it. Doom, tech, 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 doom, tech, tech. And you can echo yourself. Doom, tech, 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 doom, tech, tech. And then you just create melodies from whatever patterns you have. And then instantly your body is registering that you're drumming and singing. So that's like one little layer in there. And then with that same pattern, you can then also just sing vowels, long notes, but you want to get the pattern embodied first so that you don't have to think what you're playing doom, So for a while you'll be playing doom, tech, 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 so that your hands go on automatic pilot. And then you can tell your brain, let's do something different with your voice. And I think the next easiest thing is singing long notes.
Mm.
Once you know the rhythm really well, so that your brains can now go to the next instructions. Is that right?
Great advice. I want to echo that. I often think of, music, like you mentioned this early on, is when you're drumming and singing and stepping, you're doing three things all of a sudden. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of stuff. It adds up quickly. And when you put A could be, let's say, just say A is singing, B is drumming, C is stepping. When you put A could be simple and B could be simple, but when you put them together, not so simple, right? So a simple thing and a simple thing don't equal.
It sounds like it's not simple, but if you're going to do it by yourself for the first time, it's going to be very challenging. But
there are challenges that maybe you haven't experienced before when you start doing that, like playing drum set or something. And so it's a matter of getting used to it. And but the thing I want to tack on to what you said is that it's okay to simplify one area. So either the singing gets simple when the drumming gets more complex, or vice versa. And that's a way to create some space, in your musicking, in your playing and improvising. If you feel like you're hitting some sort of wall, or it feels like you're getting tripped up a little bit, then just simplify one thing to a great degree. It could be very, very, very simple, like you said, just sing long vowel sounds or something. and give yourself a little more space on the drumming side, for example, or vice versa. Go to super simple drumming, and then you can increase your singing complexity, if you know, and then gradually they can, you know, you can build it up. We did. So Roseanne actually typed a question. I don't know if you saw it. How did you get started drumming?
How did I get started? Well, I
Yeah.
love dancing, and I was at a Grateful Dead pre-concert kind of thing in the parking lot, and I heard drums, and my body goes, "Go dance to those drums!" And so that's how I
Mm.
first discovered drums, was a drum circle. It was pretty amazing. And then
Oh.
at that time, I worked at a bookstore, and I opened up, I don't know, a week or two later, I opened up this box, and it was Drumming at the Edge of Magic by Mickey Hart. I never thought to drum because I thought it was for the guys, but I follow the synchronicities. I go, okay, I guess I'm supposed to read this book. I read the book, and that inspired me to drum with this drum. We had some congas in my garage that never got played, so went at it spontaneously, played, and like I for 2 weeks straight for hours. And
Wow.
yeah, and then my friend invites me to a music gathering at a house, and they're playing Grateful Dead covers, and they hand us drums. And I'm like, oh, comfortable. And then they go, well, how long have you been playing? I go, 2 weeks. And then in my mind, I was like, put the or put the guitars down. Let's drum and have this drumming circle experience, unitive experience. And it happened. And we drummed for, I don't know, every week for 3 years. And then um, Planet Drum was the next book of Biggie Hearts that was at my friend's coffee shop, opened up to a page of a woman playing this tambourine and a flyer that says it was Lane Redmond, and that
Mm.
she was going to do a slideshow presentation performance called When the Drummers Were Women. And I go, oh, I'm supposed to be there. And that's how it started. I saw her, it changed my life, and I never stopped playing after that. So yeah, Drumming at the Edge of Magic book, and then the Planet Drum book is more pictures, but that was the thing that brought me, brought me to her workshop, and here we are, many years
Isn't
later.
that amazing? It just little things add up to big things, and the little moments in our lives that set us on the path. Yeah, what a great story. Where was this happening? Where were you living, or where did you grow up, or
Uh,
where?
uh, the drum, the drum circle was in Long Beach.
Hmm.
So and the Lane came to Long Beach. A women's studies professor, Wendy Griffin, brought her and hosted her to do the workshop. Um, yeah, all this magic, so much magic happened out of when you follow the little synchronicities and the signs. Yeah.
And let's just give another shout out to Lane Redmond, and who I had the pleasure of knowing, you know, for a number of years, and we would see each other at PASIC and everything. And I also read her book, When the Drummers Were Women, and she just, I mean, she's really responsible for a lot of what's happening now, and just inspired so many people. And her music, I've used her music on some of my podcasts and work, and she was always so gracious. She's, you know, I said, "Can I use your music?" And she's like, "Yes, of course." Uh, you know, she's just such an amazing spirit, such a giving spirit, and caring person, but also just a consummate musician and traveler and just helper. You know, always doing something for a cause. You know, what a great example.
Yeah.
So,
Life changing for me. And yeah, and I'm dedicated to keeping her name and her legacy alive, and supporting the other women that are also keeping her work alive.
that's right. And maybe where is that happening? Where would you recommend people go to find out more about that?
Well,
Lane's work.
she does have her website. She does have her website, laneredman.com. And then, if you're on social media, there's a women frame drumming group, and it's dedicated to her with her blessings. I asked her, I go, can we dedicate this to her? And she goes, yeah. And she, yeah, so there's also groups, you can look Lane Redman, um, Global Fans and Friends group. I
Mm.
created those, but they're not as active. But the women frame drumming is a little more active in the group. Um, Yeah, because that's where people post. So there's still people teaching her material out there, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll find them at the Women Frame Drumming group.
Awesome. That's great. Well, we have a few more minutes, and I'm wondering if you feel like it, you feel like playing a little more. Maybe anything that's inspiring to you. Maybe and we can all think about a dedication. Um, just one last thing too, before we do any more music, and that is that I hope everybody and it's been challenging. Let's be honest. The pandemic and getting on computers more than we wanted and doing all this, and we are still on Zoom, but it's okay. It's part of the what we have to work with, and it has been a blessing in a way to connect with people. But um, yeah, I just want to say thank you, Miranda, for again. I want to refer to your journey through all this, and just finding ways to keep being of service and pushing forward and making music and inspiring people, even when you yourself find it very difficult to do that, and you have your own challenges. And so I just want to say thank you for being an example.
Thank you. All right, so well, I'm thinking of Lane and all the ancient women frame drummers, and that we can now have this instrument to share the voice of. Let me see.
Thank you. Thank you. We need to always remember that music making it just lifts your spirits. It just feels good.
Singing is good. We got to sing every day.
Yes, and I also recommend people follow you for that reason, because you do put out these kind of like, okay, let's do. I mean, I know I'm just remembering things from the past, but like, oh, I'm gonna do 100 songs in 100 days or whatever it is. You know, I it's
Yeah, I
great.
feel it coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's really important, and it just takes a few minutes. It doesn't take much time, but when you do it, yeah, you just feel better. take a little vacation from all the, all the stuff that's trying to stuff into your head from TV and the media and social media and all that busyness and noise and, you know, uh, entities vying for your attention, right? Vying for our attention. But what happens when we're attending to all that stuff is we're not, like you said, being in nature, just being in the real world, the real world. So maybe we can wrap up with another thought about getting outside. I know for some of you, going outside right now, probably you'd need a bunch of jackets and warm clothes. Um, but yeah, just maybe any final thoughts or any final questions?
Yeah, so I'm remembering the singing, what I said I think about singing is that when you're singing, it vibrates you into the present moment so that it puts on pause the 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts we have in our head, which are mostly unconscious and maybe not so serving. And so the singing vibrates our body. And then you can offer the singing up to nature, you know.
Mm.
And I always, in my mind, I'm like a magical kid inside, and like the tree likes to be sung to, the sun likes to be sung to, and so it's a win-win. You go outside, or from your window, and you make an offering, they receive, and then you're creating this connection because really we are part of the earth, we are nature, and that's one thing that brings us into a harmonious space, which music is about harmony.
Yes, absolutely. I like that. Don't deny yourself nature, but also don't deny nature yourself, because, yeah, sing to the trees, sing to the earth, sing to the wind, the clouds, the sun, the moon. I mean, that's something that historically people have done anyway, right? It's nothing new. It's
Yeah.
something that's valid, and it's certainly a practice. And yeah, just be inspired. I mean, the natural world is so incredibly amazing. I know humans are always trying to build virtual things, like even the metaverse and all that, but it's so clunky and weird. And, just in nature, you just go out and look at a tree and listen. By the way, one of my favorite sounds is leaves rustling
That's
in the tree.
mine. That's
Yeah,
mine.
yay, yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah, I would
awesome.
go just take walking, and so I go. My meditation is just listening to the trees, and then just this surround sound, and then it just really makes you feel peaceful.
Mm,
I'm glad that's
isn't
your
it?
favorite sound too.
And I have different versions of it. So yeah, one of my favorite sounds is the leaves in the trees, rustling. Just that's beautiful. It's so gentle and amazing. In the wind, it's so dynamic. But also, one of my favorite fun leaf sounds is when the leaves are dried and the wind comes up and it blows them across like the street or the sidewalk,
Ah,
and they have that really light, like little tick 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 tick. It's like this really crunchy, like leaves running across the street sound. That is an awesome sound. I just like
well, I'm gonna
I
pay
get excited.
attention next
Yeah,
time.
yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting because you don't get that one too often. Yeah, the conditions have to be have to be just right.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you again. I want to write any final. So I'm looking in the chat, just at people thanking you, and so yeah, I just want to say thank you again, Miranda, and hope everybody connects with you. One more time, Frame Drum Circle Songs.
FrameDrumCircleSongs.com will
Frame
bring you
Drum
to
Circle
the
Songs.
teach. Well, it'll bring you to the teachable. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. Well, I hope people do that, and thank you again for spending your time here and dealing with the computer for us.
I'm gonna go
uh,
outside after this.
yeah, yeah.
Oh no, thank you so much for the invitation, and it's so good to see you again. And I love sharing. So and I love this session. I appreciate the questions you asked, and so thank you, and thank you everyone for singing along with me as well.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being here, and happy holidays, or if it's after, happy have a great day, whatever season it is. Thanks, Miranda.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.